Um, Today we are going to be doing general maintenance on the RZR. I'm going to be doing my 25-hour mark. I do a full complete service every 25 hours. I try to keep it as tip-top machine as what I can. Got a lot of money into it, so I want to make it run at peak performance. I created this kind of like checklist, and we're going to go down everything pretty much from start to finish. I have a checklist for after every ride, which I like to check. I change like the front diff, inspect the front diff wiring, check all the nuts that could come loose, and the tire pressure. And then Sean told me that he checks his CB radio, make sure that's tight. Also, I had a bit of a problem last time going through water. The air breather, the water comes in and there's a little nipple on the bottom that if it's clogged, the water will just go straight into the air breather. But if it's not clogged, the water should drip out. So I'm going to show you that here in a minute. But that's the things that we're going to do after every ride. And then every 25 hours, there's a whole list of things. So I'm going to show everybody what we do here at 530 Crew Off-Road. This is what I do for my machine. And Sean tries to stay on top of this as well. So we'll just give it a go and see what happens. Motherfucker. Say what? A messy project. I'm just doing maintenance. Yeah. Man, I got shit everywhere. Yeah, it's fast. I'll have to take you a ride on after I get everything done. So this is my setup. Run the Ozark Trail cooler from Walmart. It's like $100. Go in here, grab your water, whatever you want. I have a flag running here, and then this kind of keeps it from going too far back. Alright, these pack outs are badass. They're pretty expensive though, but I love them. I got the tire change and stuff in here, new belt, a snatch block. I pretty much carry all the tools in our group, so it came in handy a lot. I've only ever had to use my own tools out on the trails once, and that was the last time. So in here I have it marked. I have tools over here and then fluids over here in case we need some. You could keep this at your truck and trailer, but like when we go to West Virginia in October, it's gonna be nice that I carry this because we're 100 miles away. Who knows when someone's gonna need coolant or whatnot. So it's pretty cool to have. Got all the tools in here. Sean McGinnis taught me this trick. These bags are really cool. I got them on like Amazon, or actually I got these from a Home Depot. They're the Husky brand. Really cool. You can get them labeled. This one's not labeled, it's just miscellaneous stuff. Like this just came in handy on the trail. I got some clamps. This just came in handy with Austin's because he broke his. And then some Allens, Torx, and screwdrivers in there. Came in handy though. Alright, so grab all these. Alright, this is how I have this plate mounted. I had to do some modification in there to cut it. Got a little crazy with the saw, but it's still intact. I did want to mount it to the engine cover, that way I could take it off if need be. The only downside to that is when mounting it to the engine cover plate, it does like the only structural piece is basically the engine cover. So I have to strap it. A lot of people say you don't have to strap it because you can mount this to like in here, or some Can-Am's owners, they have a bed that's just this that doesn't come out, so they don't have to strap it, which is fine and all. But here I wanted mine to be usable, so I could just take it off just like that. So really unique. Got off of RZR Nation. A lot of people use that kind of setup there. And then here's the engine. So this little air breather nipple that I was talking about, last time I went through a bunch of water, slewed up a bunch of water, came in here, and then went down this hose right here. Well, apparently this damn nipple right here was clogged, and then all that water just fucking went into here and like basically stalled my machine. So basically what we're gonna have today is just inspect this little nipple right here, make sure it's clean, make sure you can see through it, and then once you know that there's no mud or dirt in there, just pop her back in there. So definitely make sure you clean this out. You don't have to get a new one after every 25 hours. Probably after every few services, get one. They're inexpensive. It definitely saves the life of the engine if you have a clean one. The best ones to run are the Polaris OEM ones. This one was only $35 because it's the only one they had on the trailhead. I didn't have a choice because when water came in, this whole thing got flooded with water. Luckily, water didn't go down in the engine. However, all that water and mud came in here and basically ruined this air filter. We were stuck on the trail for like 2 hours waiting for our buddies to go back and get some, get another one. So I do have a new air filter. I got this on Rocky Mountain ATV. It said it was the OEM one. It's a little bit different than the OEM. It is blue, however, it doesn't quite look like the OEM. It says Polaris, Polaris by Donaldson. I'm gonna run it. It's like 60 bucks. So we'll pop her in. We'll run it for a little bit. I do plan on getting a snorkel kit here. Called my dealer up, told him the problem I had with water coming in. Well, the main problem is a dang nipple right there. However, I've had a lot of issues with water coming in these vents. These vents are not very good. I hate them. Had more problems with water coming in here and going down in my clutch cover and having to open up this drain plug there. Like, it is a pain in the butt. Then I have to take it all off and clean the belt. Like, it's a pain. So my dealer's like, just get a dang snorkel kit for it. So that's in the works. I'm gonna throw this in. Keep this ring on. This ring right here keeps it tight against that housing down there. If you just have it here, it's gonna come off. So you need this ring on it. We'll just throw it on in there. So we have, what we just did is, alright, we blew out the air filter. We're gonna do that to the old one, but we changed the air filter today. Today's date, 8/26/2021. Alright. So, let's go ahead and do this stuff while it's in the garage so we can check control arm nuts, check radius rod nuts.
So right in here, running these Super ATV ones, down there I had some people say that these nuts don't kind of come loose. So just visually inspect them and make sure that they're all good. Also check your tie rod nuts. There. That's good. While you're down here, just go and give a quick look at everything. Just make sure there's nothing damaged. So it's good. Okay. Nuts. Check your brake lines. Lines are good. Alright, checking your radius rod nuts.
These in here, see, had little problems with that's coming loose a little bit. So we'll tighten that up. That one's a little loose too. We'll tighten that up.
That one's loose too. Dang, they're all came loose. Alright, we'll get those. If we can get something down in there, tighten them up, we will.
So we're gonna move this thing out, warm it up, change the oil, change the fluids while it's outside, and then got some more stuff to run through, but let's start getting it. Alright, so we check the radius rods, check the tie rods, check the control arm nuts. and change the fluids.
Alright, the rear diff is right here. She's an 8mm.
The closest one is your rear diff. The farthest one away from you is your engine oil. So we're doing the rear diff first. Go ahead and inspect this, make sure there's not any metal shavings on it. Put this back together. I'll clean that off a little bit. And it's really clean. Like, purple is the natural color of this, so the fact that this stuff is still purple, like, I'm impressed. So I'm putting 44 ounces in it. This quart I have 24 ounces, so I'll put 12 in here, then I'll put 32 in here. Make sure you're putting AGL in the rear. It should be purple. So this stuff's purple, so at least we're putting the right stuff in there. I like to just give it a little snug, and that's it. Clearly, it was tight enough last time when I tried popping it off. So that's it. Rear diff is done, and we'll lower it. Take the engine oil out. I ran it again. I got up to 165. We'll get the engine oil out. This is a 6mm Allen. Alright. Right through here, the best way to get the engine oil filter out. Tell you where it is. It's right back up in here. Right there. So you can on the 1000s, like not non-turbos, it's a lot easier to go in through here. With the turbos, you have this bar right here that's in the way. You can't really get good access to it back here. But on my old 1000, it was really easy to get, literally right here. I'm gonna bring out the big boys. Not messing around. A little bit of a leak coming out of the bottom of the oil filter, and as I'm inspecting this, I see why. This ring had popped off, actually ripped. I don't know if you can see it, but it ripped right there. So I'm glad that if I have an engine leak, it came from this filter. So the engine oil goes in at the top here. Make sure there's nothing on the cap. Before we do that, go ahead and put your new oil filter in, and then tighten up the screw at the bottom. Make sure everything's tight, because you don't want to put stuff in here and then next thing you know you look underneath it and everything's just pouring out from the bottom. Common sense, but seen it happen. For the oil filter, make sure you pour some oil in and then lube the top of the rubber. So I already did it, but this is the old one. You just want to pour a little bit of oil in it and then take some oil and then rub it around here, because you don't want to screw it on with this being tight. And then you only want it to be finger tight. You don't want to take the channel locks or pliers on it. Just take your hands and tighten her up as tight as you can get with your hands only. Alright, so we're only putting 2.5 quarts in. Pop that off. Bottom one's tight and the filter's on, so we'll go in with engine oil in it.
Oh, this donkey dick. I love this thing. This thing's awesome.
Alright, while we're back here, we're going to go in and change the spark plugs. This 19 Turbo XP requires the MR9F spark plugs, so that's what we got. Just running the M ones.
Don't get any dirt down in the cylinder, so just be careful doing this. No reason to rush it.
Good morning. Alright, so we got a little bit done yesterday. I had to go run some errands, but we're back today and we're going to see if we can finish it up. I got about 3 hours before I got to start getting ready for work, so we'll see what we can get done. Right now we're on to changing the front diff fluid. So the front diff is really easy as long as you don't strip it. So you'll get up under here with your 8mm Allen, and it's right under there. That's pretty simple, so we'll just get to it. A little bit of gunk is fine, but you definitely don't want any big chunks of metal. Where you fill it up is on this side, the passenger side. It's right there. That's an 8mm as well.
I changed my front diff literally every ride, if not every other ride. I've already had to replace this front diff once, and it's not super hard, it's just a pain in the ass and it's not cheap.
Doesn't have to be super tight. Alright, the front diff, it only requires 8 ounces, so this is at 24, I'll go down to 16. Snug, give it a little more, and then a little more for safekeeping, and that's it. So I'm about to put the headband on, go to work. If you're taking a look at this, we changed the front diff. We checked the control arm nuts, checked the radius rod nuts, checked tie rod nuts. We inspected the air breather nipple that I was talking about earlier. We blew out, actually we changed the air filter today. Changed the spark plugs. We did front diff, rear diff, and oil. And right now, I just took the seats out and I'm about to take the center console out, and in here underneath where it says pop center console to inspect, we're going to check the carrier bearing, the drive shaft and U-joints, and then visually check the fuel lines, make sure nothing's leaking, and then we'll throw it back together. Right after that, I'm just going to start going down the list on some stuff and come over here and check it off. I'm going to start trying to burn through some of this so we can get done fairly decent, but just remember, the more time you spend in here maintaining your machine, the less time you're going to spend on the trail broken down wishing that you would have looked over something and found something that's broke. So just kind of take your time on it, but just make sure you hit everything. This is just a go-by that I use. This goes off of the Polaris general maintenance like every 100 miles, or every 100 hours, but I kind of compiled everything, made it bigger, found some things that I've had problems with, such as that air breather nipple, some things you don't really think of. I just add it to this list and just go down and check the list. If we do all of this, then we're ready for West Virginia come October. So we'll just get going. Sweet. All right, Cole. If you got 1 second, let me transfer money and I can pay you, or I can call you back in 5 minutes. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Talk to you later. Alright, so we got the doors somewhat adjusted. They're not great. There's a reason why they call me Tree Man over the radio, because bashed up a couple trees before I got tree kickers. Yeah, so this was from Wildcat back in like April. Bashed this off. So I already went through one set of tree kickers. So with that being said, these doors aren't perfect, but this one, it shuts pretty good. This passenger one, been struggling with. I tried wallowing out the holes a little bit, but it still shuts. You just have to give it a little bit more force. It kind of hits right there a little bit, but I pushed it back as far as I can go. I mean, it's still hitting. It ain't perfect, but I'm just gonna keep messing with it. Didn't want to show it all on video, but I think it's gonna be good for the next 25 miles. Then or 25 hours. Then I'm gonna do it again. So it's just a constant struggle getting these damn doors adjusted. I just got a clutch kit and a new clutch on the way. Also got a snorkel kit on the way. CW Motorsports hooked me up with a triangle high lifter snorkel kit, and the only reason I'm doing it is because I'm having a lot of problems with water coming in these vents here down in my clutch housing. On my old 1000, never had that problem, but running these big tires, a lot of water comes up in this thing. So I don't know, there's a crack in this hose somewhere, or if water just loves going down in there, but having a lot of problems with that. Also, the last time we rode down in Kentucky at Wildcat, I had a lot of water come up in here and go down in my airbox, which I talked about that a lot. That could fix the problem, but I'm having a lot of issues with water, and I don't even go through water that often. Austin we call a water whore because he's the one who just plows through water all the time. I'm the one who always tries to keep it safe and not want to drown my machine, but I mean, it is what it is. That's what you get when you go wheeling. But I mean, that's the only reason why I'm getting a snorkel kit, is just because I'm tired of dealing with all the water issues, and not because I want to go through deep water, but because I got too much money invested in this thing. For $350, triangle high lifter snorkel kit is gonna save me a world of headaches. And the reason I'm getting a clutch kit is because my clutch, there's a little bit of wear on the sheaves on the inside of the primary, and this thing doesn't take off to about 3,000 RPMs. Everybody says that there's a problem with it, but I'm just going to go ahead and get an OEM clutch with run a clutch kit in it. CW Motorsports is putting the clutch kit together. They're just going to send it my way. I'm going to put the secondary spring in it, and I'll show y'all how to do it here in a minute. Actually, it'll be a while. It'll be a couple weeks before it comes in, but I'll run another video on how to replace the clutch and whatnot. Alright, so I'm going to jack it up, inspect the ball joints, and see how my steering rack looks. Check the wiring to the front diff. Check everything in the front end, just visually inspect it, move the tires back and forth. I'm going to do that real quick, and then we'll be done for the day. So to check the ball joints, wiggle it back and forth, see if, wiggle it up and down, see if there's any movement in it. Alright, definitely not a lot of movement. Here in the next servicing, probably ought to take this tire off, pack some grease in that ball joint. The ball joints I'm running HD tops, I'm running Demon bottoms. The Demon bottoms, they're actually reverse ball joints because there's a lot of pressure that goes on the bottom. So both of them are repackable. You can unscrew them with grease, pack more grease in, and slap the back together. So they last a lot longer than stock. Not much movement going on in there. I'm going to check the fluid for the brakes. So while you're over here, I inspect the pinion seal for the front diff. It's right there. Just make sure you run your finger along it, or you visually check there's no oil coming out of that. Put it off. We're going to check engine coolant. Alright, so inspected the front diff, inspected brake fluid, topped off engine coolant, checked coolant hoses. We've been looking over the front and rear shocks, those all look good. I'll show you how to check throttle body intake boots here soon. Need to tighten all the body panels. We can take a look at axles tomorrow. Checked the steering rack, checked ball joints, still need to check brake pads, and we need to grease the wheel bearings. We're going to message Sean, see if we can borrow his wheel bearing greaser. And while we're in there, we're going to check the wheel bearings. And that looks good. So all we have left is we need to do an alignment on it, check the throttle body intake boots, tighten all the body panels, inspect the axles, give it a clean wash again, and then check the wheel bearings, brake pads, and grease wheel bearings, and then we'll be good. Alright, so next step I'm going to be doing is aligning it. The best way to align it that we picked up over the years from go-kart racing is to tie it at the front and tie it at the rear, get some string and loop it all the way around, and then you just want to go around the front tire here and then loop it all the way around to the back. You want it pretty level. Get about the center point of the tire on the front and back, and then just tie it back here. Basically what you're looking for is you want both the front and the rears to be touching the tire. So you see how it touches here but does not touch there, means the back of the tire is in a little bit. So we're gonna adjust these radius rods here, bring them in. I think I'm gonna do we'll do 3 threads here on both the tops and bottoms. And then what you're also wanting to do, so you'll see there's a gap there, so we're going to try to close that gap up, try to bring that rear wheel centered. And the front, take the steering wheel and on each side turn it one way or the other and get it to where it aligns, to where it touches the tire, both the front and back. And then you'll see, so it touches the front and back here, there's a little bit of a gap right there. And then same on this side, get to where it touches the front and back. What you'll want to notice for the front is pretty easy to adjust when you just adjust the tie rods. But basically you start on one side, you'll get here, turn the wheel to where the line touches the tire, and then notice to see, once you get one side done, go to the other side, see if this side is off or not. What you're wanting is whatever side is better, closest to the steering wheel being straight, then you need to adjust the other side. In order to take off this top radius rod, you have to remove this bolt because we are adjusting this. We're adjusting both the top and the bottom radius rods, bringing them in to hopefully bring the tire back out. We're going to try it out. In order to do all that, you need to take the brake caliper off. Because I'm taking the brake caliper off, I did plan on greasing the wheel bearings, so I bought a wheel bearing greaser. It's a 44 millimeter, got off of Amazon for like $25. So you'll take this pin out. Before you do all this, make sure you have new cotter pins because you don't really want to use the old one. So you'll take this off, and then the axle nut is a 27 millimeter, so you'll take that off, and I'll show you a trick on how to get this off pretty easily. Alright, good tip is you can either A, use a big wrench, put it against the two studs you have, and what I've done in the past is I've lowered the machine down and had this part of the wrench rest against the ground. Then you're just using the force of the ground. What you also can do is take a jack stand and put it underneath here, and then do same thing. Alright, we're going to go in 3 threads, 3 spins. I'm using a 15/16. These are the Super ATV radius rods. That's it. So now the last thing before you put this on, if you have brake cleaner, clean this rotor up because I'm touching it with grease. exactly what we are looking for right here. You want it to be touching the tire here, and it's going to be pulling against the back here, so it's tightened up over there. But what you're looking for alignment is you're looking for it to touch all 4 parts of the tires. So you want it to touch outside here, 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 and here. It's pretty, I mean, it's on there, it's tight. Oh, there we go. Easiest way to take that out is just lift up this whole trailing arm here a little bit. So we're gonna go three turns in. Grab your 15/16. Three. Hey, good morning everyone. So today we need to check the camber on the front, and we need to go ahead and grease the front wheel bearings. What I noticed, I did the level experiment. If I can find oh, here it is. So I noticed that the passenger side is coming in a little bit, and if you get it on the back, like sidewall to sidewall, you can notice that the bubble is letting the bottom go in a little bit. What we're looking for is it to be out a little bit, and the bubble would be on the opposite side. So how we're going to fix that, we can either take, well, the tops of these Super ATV A-arms are non-adjustable, but the bottoms are. So we're going to bring the bottoms, we're going to push it out, so bring this tire out a little bit. Also, another trick is you could take a tape measure, and I'll show you how to do that. Just pick a lug, or you could go center to center, but you want 2 good points of reference, both they're on the top and bottom. A lot of people use the center of the tire, but for a good reference point with these XTR 370s, to me it's easier just to use the lugs. To pick the same type of lug, right now the tops we're looking at 47 3/4, and on the bottom we're looking at 47 1/2. So we are actually going in on the bottom 1/4 inch, so we need to push that right side out. So we have about 1/4 inch at the top, which is what you're looking for. So you want it to be going in a little bit at the top, but out a little bit at the bottom, because if you have it perfectly straight up and down, it's a little bit easier to capsize. And then if you have it like the passenger side is right now, if you have it the opposite way, whereas the bottom is in more than the top, then as soon as you make that corner, it's just that much easier to topple over. So when we go to grease these wheel bearings, we're going to go ahead and fix that passenger side. That way we can have it, the camber all fixed and the toe all fixed. It's already aligned. We did the string test, so once we do this, I mean, you won't really notice it on the trails a whole lot, but it's a good safe precaution, because that way you're going to be more centered on the ground, so it's going to be a lot better. In order to take the bottom control arm off, we're going to have to get it to a point where we can lift it up a little bit, but it's spring's kind of in our way, so we're gonna pop off the spring bolt. It's 15 millimeter, and then use like a string, ratchet strap or something, and tie it up to here. Getting these two bolts out in the back, what you don't want to do is take a hammer and beat them out. If you do that, you're gonna mess up the threads. The easiest thing to do is just get up underneath the whole thing and just wiggle it out until it pops out. Alright. How to mess up a ball joint 101. Alright, so what we're going to do is we need this to be pushed out at the bottom. Turns, and that gives us just over 1/8 of an inch, and that's going to push out the tires some more, so that'll give us plenty of room. Alright, while we have access to this, before we put the tire on and then take it off and grease the wheel bearing, let's go ahead and take the caliper off, take this cotter pin out, take the axle nut off, take the whole hub out, and then grease that wheel bearing, put it all back together, throw the tire on, see if it did that alignment good, and then we'll go ahead. Pads still have life in them. See, not bad. Could use some replacing here soon. They're about 60% worn, 50 to 60% worn, so they still got some life left. So as of right now, we tightened the axle nut, brake caliper, sway wire linkage arm. We need to throw the shock on. We'll put the tire on, see how it aligns, and then from there we still need to tighten up the 2 bolts and the nuts with the bottom control arms. I put it kind of on the ground, got the bubble level, and about push up against the bottom of the tire. That right there, so we went from, there's level if the tire's straight up and down, and then here's what we're actually at. So that's good because now the bottom is actually kicked out a tiny bit. That's going to help you get some stabilization when you're going fast around turns. We're happy with that. Now let's go ahead and tighten up the bottom A-arms, and we'll go ahead and finish this side, and then I'll meet you on the other side. So I need to tighten this side, I need to tighten the other side, and then all the wheel bearings are done. Alright, so checked all the brake pads, greased the wheel bearings, checked the tire pressure on the ones that we have on right now. We need to check the tire pressure on new tires, and we need to tighten all the body panels. We did clean that, and inspect the throttle body intake boots. So give me a second. Alright, so we're going to tighten all the body panels, and it is a Torx T40. So all these body panels, we're just going to zip really quick, make sure that they're tight. The very last thing that we're going to do is inspect the intake boots, and then after that everything is complete for our 25-hour maintenance schedule. I want to make sure that I maintain this machine as best as I can because I don't want to be lost or stranded or broke something on the trail. I want to be able to find it at home before I go out. I can't tell you how many times that I've went over the buggy right before we went out, like a week before, trying to get everything last minute stuff ready, and then I realized, like, oh crap, there's fluid coming out of my front diff, and I just see a drop, and then come to find out my front pinion seal is blown out. That literally happened right before the Haspin trip. I went ahead and I ordered a HD Extreme front diff because I figured if I'm going to replace this thing, might as well put something that's going to last a little bit longer, some So some bulletproof parts in there. However, it's not bulletproof. It's a wear item. It's gonna happen. The machine's only got, I think, like 500 miles on it. Actually, so let's go ahead and check. And also, I want to show y'all how to fix, how to reset. All right, so we have 596 total miles on it. Service. All right, so we're gonna hold mode down, go into options. We're gonna go all the way to service hour. Once you click that, whatever you change it to next, you could change it to 20 or 25. I keep mine at 25, that way I can keep it maintained all the time. And then hit exit. All right, see how that went to 25? Now the machine has been reset as far as the maintenance goes. So now you can just do maintenance the next 25 hours. Kind of hard to see, it's pretty muddy down in there. But you just want to look for any rips or tears on those. I don't see any on the top side. I have this added because on my old 1000, I did have a small rip right there. It kept throwing a code. I couldn't figure it out for the longest time. Finally found out air was coming in through this intake boot. It actually blew up my engine because dirt got down in there. So just give that a quick check, and then we're going to go down there and check both sides real quick, see if we can inspect it. That's it. We have everything done on this. All right, throw this back up. Alright, so that's it. That's done with everything. I just want to say thank you all for watching. I appreciate all the support you guys give me. To all of our subscribers, to everyone who watches, I really appreciate it. Leave a comment below if you think I can do better at anything as far as maintenance goes, as far as video goes. I want to be able to show or help anybody. I have a lot of experience with RZRs. I wouldn't say years, probably like a couple years, but my old 1000, I blew everything apart on it. I had 6,000 miles. I think I replaced literally everything except for the transmission in that thing. So I mean, I've been around the block a couple times with both this machine and the other machine. My old one was a 2016 RZR 1000 XP. Pretty sweet machine. It taught me a lot. World of problems though. This 2019 Turbo XP is badass. I love it. Thank you to CW Motorsports for hooking me up. They're a great company. They're in Illinois. Cody and Cole over there are awesome. They hook me up with anything I need. So let's fire this baby up.